the Shana Tova start in song on page 168 as we sing about how good it is to be together, and it truly is good to be together. All you have to do is sing after me, just like this. E-O,
E-O,
E-O, oh, oh,
E-O, oh, oh,
E-O,
E-O,
oh, oh, oh. Let's try that again. E-O,
E-O,
E-O, oh, oh,
E-O,
E-O, oh, oh, oh. Now try this.
הנה מה טוב ומנעים שבת אחים גם יחד. How great it is for brothers and sisters to hang out on this day. הנה מה טוב ומנעים שבת אחים גם יחד. How great it is for brothers and sisters to hang out on this day.
E-O,
E-O,
E-O, oh, oh,
E-O,
oh, oh, הנה מה טוב ומנעים שבת אחים גם יחד.
How great it is for brothers and sisters to hang out on this day. הנה מה טוב ומנעים שבת אחים גם יחד. How great it is for brothers and sisters to hang out on this day. All right, well, Shana Tova, a good and sweet year to all of you.
Shana Tova.
If we haven't met you yet, I'm Rabbi Karen,
I'm Rabbi Micah.
and it's great to see all of you here on this beautiful day outdoors. So, yeah, we're going to sing a little bit. If you feel like getting up and dancing, you can do that too. And hopefully you all have a Machzor special prayer book for our new year. And we're just going to get into the New Year spirit a little bit. On the bottom of page 173, we're going to sing about the special foods that we eat on Rosh Hashanah. And this is just a little heads up. At the end of our service, we actually have a little sweet treat for everyone.
Individually wrapped sweet treat. Tapuchim apples taste good all year, but they're even better on Rosh Hashanah with a little bit of dvash, a little bit of honey on the bottom of page 173.
Tapuchim udvash leRosh Hashanah. Tapuchim udvash leRosh Hashanah. Shana Tova, Shana Metzuka. Shana Tova, Shana Metzuka. Tapuchim udvash leRosh Hashanah. Tapuchim udvash leRosh Hashanah.
Let's try this in English now.
Apples and honey for a sweet new year. Apples and honey for a sweet new year. A good new year, a sweet new year. A good new year, a sweet new year. Apples and honey for the sweet new year. Apples and honey for a sweet new year. Well, as we're welcoming each other, maybe you can just look around and maybe wave at someone you know, or you can wave to a new friend, because I see some new faces here on our Temple Beth David parking lot. I know we wish we could have all of you in our sanctuary, but on this nice day, we all know it's better to be outdoors in our times and taking in the fresh air for a fresh new year. Now, raise your hand if you like birthdays. Anyone like celebrating birthdays? Well, we are celebrating the world's birthday today. Anyone know how old our world is in Jewish counting? It's a big number. starts with a 5. 5,782 years. Yes, thank you, Barbara. You got it. I know, that's probably older than all of us. Well, we like to sing happy birthday to our world, and it's a little hard for us to come around, but before we sing happy birthday, I want to invite you all to think about a wish that you have for our world this year. Just like when it's your birthday, you get to make a wish. So think about a wish for our world. All right, we're going to sing happy birthday. Happy birthday to the world. Oh, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to the world. Happy birthday to you. Yom Huledet Sameach. Yom Huledet Sameach. Yom Huledet Sameach. Yom Huledet Sameach. All right, and we're going to do one more warm-up song to really make sure we're ready for the new year before we move into some of our prayers. On page 170, we're going to sing about 3 really important things that we can do on Rosh Hashanah: Teshuvah, Tefillah, and Tzedakah, which is turning around and making things better, prayer, and tzedakah, giving of ourselves. Okay. All right, so some of you who've been here in past years, you may remember this. If you've been in our Shorashim education programs, you'll be singing it all day. Here we go. Rosh Hashanah, head of the year. Rosh Hashanah, head of the year. Rosh Hashanah, head of the year. We're so glad that everybody's here. Teshuvah, Tefillah, Tzedakah. Teshuvah, Tefillah, Tzedakah. Teshuvah, Tefillah, Tzedakah. Teshuvah, Tefillah, Tzedakah. On Rosh Hashanah, it's the start of everything. A brand new year, make it fresh, let freedom ring. We blow the shofar to wake the slumbering. Alive, awake, alert is how it goes, and so we sing. Rosh Hashanah, head of the year. Rosh Hashanah, head of the year. Rosh Hashanah, head of the year. We're so glad that everybody's here. Teshuvah, Tefillah, Tzedakah, give it a try. Teshuvah, Tefillah, Tzedakah. Teshuvah, Tefillah, Tzedakah. Teshuvah, Tefillah, Tzedakah. Teshuvah means to return, to find your way. Tefillah means talk to God, it means to pray. Tzedakah means charity, give it away. On Rosh Hashanah, this is what we do and what we say. Rosh Hashanah, head of the year. Rosh Hashanah, head of the year. Rosh Hashanah, head of the year. We're so glad that everybody's here. Teshuvah, Tefillah, Tzedakah. Teshuvah, Tefillah, Tzedakah. Teshuvah, Tefillah, Tzedakah. One more time. Teshuvah, Tefillah, Tzedakah. All right, we're going to turn back to the beginning of our book, or sort of the beginning, page 62. And if you can read, you are welcome to join with me. Today is the beginning of a new Jewish year. Like many beginnings, a new year brings hope and excitement. Today is also a holy day, a day to celebrate God's creation of the world, a day to say thank you to God for the world God has created for us. Like many beginnings, we enter the year with new hopes and new emotions, with hopes that we will do our best to make this year a good one, with hopes that this year will bring us more love, more health, and more peace. And we're going to turn to page 76, and if you can stand, we're going to stand and stretch a little bit for our call to prayer, the Baruch Hu. And if you're Some of our regulars at Top Shabbat, this is the Are You Ready to Pray prayer, where you say okay, but we're going to do a special Rosh Hashanah melody for our call to prayer. Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Barechu Adonai HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam vad. And let's read on page 79, where you see a picture of a candle, especially as we look at all the sunlight around us. We say, Baruch Atah Adonai Yotzer HaMeorot. Blessed are you, Adonai, who creates all the lights. And on page 82, you'll see a big Hebrew letter Shin, which makes the sound shh. We're going to join in saying Shema Yisrael, reminding us to listen and that God is one and God is all around us and inside of us. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. And you can sit back down. On pages 84 and 85, you'll see the prayer talks about loving God with all of our heart and our thoughts. And I want to invite you to just for a moment to turn to someone near you, someone who you know, and let them know something that you love about them. Give it a try. Well, I can tell that there's a lot of love on our parking lot today. We're going to sing on page 86 that same melody of Baruch Hu, our special holiday melody for Micha Mocha, our prayer that reminds us to never stop walking, that we can always do a little bit more to make our world a better place. Micha Mocha ba'elim Adonai, Micha Mocha nedar ba'kodesh, Norah tehilot osef elam. And let's read on page 87 together. During the holiest days of our year, we renew our promise to stand up for what is right. We will not stand with our feet frozen to the ground and our arms limp by our sides. We will not stay silent when our voice is needed. We will not hide. We will not walk away. When people are sad, we will comfort them. When people are mean, we will stop them. When someone is hungry, we will feed them. When someone is cold, we will find them shelter. When there are tears, we will dry them. When there are hopes, we will support them. We know how slavery and sadness feel. We renew our promise this day to not stand idly by when others are suffering, to renew our promise this day to bring all people into our song of freedom. And if you turn now to page 94, we sing this special song about memory, Zochreinu L'Chaim, page 94, and we ask God to remember us this year, and just like we remember everyone around us, we can promise to, again, make everyone's life a little bit sweeter and better this year. Zochreinu lechaim, melech hafetz b'chaim, v'chotvenu b'sefer hachayim, v'chotvenu b'sefer hachayim, v'chotvenu b'sefer hachayim, lemancha Elohim chayim. Zochreinu lechaim, melech hafetz b'chaim, v'chotvenu b'sefer hachayim, v'chotvenu b'sefer hachayim, v'chotvenu b'sefer hachayim, lemancha Elohim chayim. All right. So we're welcoming even more people to our parking lot. Welcome. We're singing these special melodies, and those of you who've been with us in past years, you may remember that Rabbi Mike and I are usually wearing these special white robes for the holidays. Well, we decided being outdoors today, it's kind of hot out, so
It's in the Torah. If it's at 80, you don't have to wear that.
But maybe you'll notice that we are wearing white, which is a special color for our new year, kind of like a big open blank page of white paper that we get to write all of our stories on and write a new chapter in our lives, just like that song we just sang. And if you look on page 100, on the bottom of the page, we'll just read these words together. They're the same words we sang earlier in our service. Utshuva, utfila, utstaka, ma'avirin et roa hagzera. Through return to the right path, through prayer and through righteous giving, we can earn a new page in the book of life and write a better story in the new year. And I know we're all hoping that things will continue to get a little bit better this year, and we can just find ways to be together again. All right, we're going to read one other prayer, especially for children and parents, on page 107. And we'll start with the parents, so you can join along here. To the children I care for, may you be like Abraham and Sarah, who had the courage to believe in a God they could not see. May you be like Rebekah, who was kind to all, people and animals. May you be like Jacob, who understood that God could be found everywhere. May you be like Miriam, whose love made her a protector. May you be like Moses, who wasn't afraid to ask for help. May all of our prayers be sweet to you, God, and may this new year be a good one. We say amen. And the children here, and if you need a parent to help you read, you can ask them for a little help. All the kids can say this prayer for being thankful for your parents and grandparents, some grandparents here as well. To the adults who care for me, just as you bless and keep me, I want you to know my blessing for you. May you always have patience for my silliness and teasing. May you always have hugs, both for giving and receiving. May you always feel pride when you see how I've grown. I am lucky to love you. Be blessed with Shalom. And we're going to sing our prayer for Shalom, page 111. And you'll see a picture of some hands there. So it is traditional in Judaism to place your hands on your children if you'd like, or you can put your arm around them. And this is a prayer for peace and safety. And I've got one more show and tell here. All right, those of you who come to our Talk Shabbat, you'll recognize Peace Bear, and Peace Bear always wants more shalom, more peace in our world. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. V'yasem lecha shalom. V'yasem lecha shalom. V'yasem lecha shalom. Well, speaking of parents, we are going to continue on page 114 with a special prayer called Avinu Malkina. We call God like a parent or a king or a queen, and we stand up for this prayer. If we were in our sanctuary, we would open our ark, so you can kind of picture that maybe in your minds. Page 114. Turn to page 120. Even though we don't have our ark outside, guess what we have behind us? We do have a Torah scroll, and on our holidays we open our Torah and read all the special stories. So I know, and in normal years we have a big Torah parade that some of you might remember. So we're not going to do the parade today because there's lots of wires around, but I am going to put my mask on and take the Torah down the aisle and back so you can see it a little bit more up close. And then we'll hear one story from the Torah. So page 120, we sing about how sweet the Torah is. And again, just a reminder, we're going to have a little sweet treat at the end of our service.
Sweet as honey, sweet as honey, sweet as honey on our tongue. Sweet as honey, sweet as honey, sweet as honey on our tongue. The mitzvot ha'mitzivanu, לעשות בדברי תורה, לעשות בדברי תורה. Sweet as honey, sweet as honey, sweet as honey on our tongue. Sweet as honey, sweet as honey, sweet as honey on our tongue. You can be seated.
All right. Well, as I mentioned, our Torah has lots of stories with important lessons. And on Rosh Hashanah, we read from the very beginning of our Torah, the story of the creation of the world, where we learn about all the important parts of the world that God created. So we have a story today, and yes, we have a few preparations going on. So our story may involve some special guests today, and I'll just say, this may be a first for Temple Beth David. So yeah, if anyone feels like, snapping a picture, you can do that, because this might be memorable. And just as I'll just share one other brief announcement with all of you while we're waiting for the story to begin. Just want to make sure everyone knows our building is open, so if you need water or restrooms or anything like that, you are welcome to go inside. Masks are required inside if you go in, but health and safety, you can definitely make your way in. And this is also new. We didn't advertise this, but we've had a few requests to open our playground after the service. So we have a brand new playground at Temple Beth David, a year in. Named in honor of Barbara Zub, whose grandkids are here, Lexi and Jordan. And anyway, it's a wonderful part of our community, so just keep that in mind. Now, once upon a time, there lived a great king named King Solomon. And King Solomon was the third king of Israel. And King Solomon lived in a splendid palace surrounded by lavish gardens, just like the trees and gardens you see here. And these gardens were filled with all sorts of colorful, sweet-smelling flowers. One day, as King Solomon sat in his garden thinking important royal thoughts, he was startled by a pain on his royal nose.
Ow!
Now, it has been said that King Solomon could speak the languages of all the animals. And so he spoke to a young furry bee hiding inside a nearby flower.
What? Why did you sting me?
Why did you sting me? The king asked.
What did I do to you?
And the little bee hung her head in shame. She felt very badly. Well, Your Majesty, she stammered, that is the bee, here's what happened. The bee gathering nectar from the flower, and well, the king laughed. Thank you very much, King Solomon said. Someday I'll repay the kindness you just showed me. You'll see. Well, the king soon forgot about the little bee because the famous Queen of Sheba came to visit. She had heard that King Solomon was very, very wise and had come to test him with the trickiest riddles she could find. As the king answered each one correctly, the queen asked a more difficult riddle. Finally, she clapped her hands, and 40 servants brought in 40 bouquets of colorful flowers.
Servants!
We need our servants. Our 40 servants brought in 40 bouquets of colorful flowers. Now, Your Majesty, said Queen Sheba, smiling, before you are 39 bouquets of artificial flowers and one made of real flowers. Look at them, and here's the riddle. Tell me, which is the bouquet of real flowers? Well, the king had said, bring them closer. But the queen smiled and said, no, Your Majesty, you must answer this riddle from a distance. If the flowers come closer, you would be able to smell the flowers. And that's not the riddle. King Solomon frowned again. This time he would not be able to solve this final riddle from the queen. But suddenly, the king heard a faint buzzing sound. Bzzz, bzzz. he looked and he saw the same young bee who had stung his nose in the garden. No one else noticed her as she buzzed over to the one bouquet made of real flowers. King Solomon bowed to the Queen of Sheba and pointed to the bouquet of real flowers. And then he buzzed quietly in bee language, because remember, the king could speak the language of all animals. And King Solomon said to the bee, "Thank you, my friend." And the little bee flew happily back to her hive. And King Solomon, the bee likes to do pollen. And King Solomon never forgot that every creature God made has something to contribute to our world. And that is the story of King Solomon and the bee, starring the rabbi's dog Itchy, who's really a poodle, but he did a great job. By the way, if you're wondering, we've had a hard time with COVID, sometimes finding things that you need or want. It's remarkable how hard it is to find bee costumes these days, except apparently for a dog. So, all right, well, that is our story. We are going to hear the shofar blast to end our service today, and the shofar is our alarm clock for the new year, our spiritual alarm clock, to make sure that we are really awake and ready to start a new year. All right, so our shofar blower is coming out, and let's see, you can find on page 134 our blessing. Oh, right. Oh, I just learned. So, well, this is very important. So, so you can make your way to page 134 as we get ready to hear the shofar. And in addition to a sweet treat, with much gratitude to Lynn Kaminsky and her helpers. Lynn, if you haven't met her, is the new director of our Shalom Corner Early Learning Center at Temple Beth David. So we officially started a preschool here. It's been open 2 days. It opened on Wednesday. This is so exciting. Our whole community is thrilled. If you know of 3 and 4-year-olds who are interested in preschool, we have openings. 2-year-old room is pretty much full. Might be able to squeeze you in for a day or two, but definitely have space for 3 and 4-year-olds. And our school is all set up with a playground, and we are so excited. So Lynn made flowers for all the kids with some helpers. So in addition to a sweet treat, all the kids can take a flower as a reminder of our story today. Thank you, Lynn. And I will just say one other thing about the sweet treat. So in normal times, we kind of share apples and honey, but we're not really sharing the food. This might be even better. I don't know if we're ever going to go back. We have individually wrapped apple cookies for everyone. Oh my gosh, I know. And some honey sticks, so you can dip your apple cookie in honey. All right, we're going to hear the shofar. So it is customary to stand to hear the shofar, to really show that we are ready. So on page 134, let's join in the blessing for hearing the shofar. Baruch atah Adonai, shomea kol truah